Hello, my friends. Welcome to Money Magic, Abundance and Prosperity Reset. I'm so excited to start this journey with you. Before we meet in person, in the virtual person, I have this introduction for you. So I'd like to talk about what it is that we're going to do and how we're going to work through these limiting belief systems that we have around money, around abundance and prosperity and what we can attract. And so I'm going to share my screen with you here and get this started. Get it into full mode here. Okay, so welcome to Money Magic, Abundance and Prosperity Reset. Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself before we get started. So, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Julie Johnston, and I have been doing consciously choosing to grow and expand myself for 15 plus years, probably most of my life, actually, but really consciously doing it for like the last 15 years. Um, and I'm really, really passionate about getting to the root or the core of an issue and working through it. And what I have really resonated with, what's really worked for me is getting to that root, that core, and then repatterning it and reprogramming it, body, mind, and soul level. So I've had to do a lot of things within my physical body. Yoga is a huge practice of that. But just like working things through my body, repatterning the thoughts and belief systems in my mind, which then basically changes me on a soul level, allows me to be more expansive, allows me to be more authentic in myself. And the programs that this is just a couple, but these are my core ones. Neuro linguistic programming, which is NLP, emotional freedom technique or tapping, EFT, um, meditation, not even a program, just a practice, um, all kinds of different variations of hypnosis. I've also done a lot of shamanic practices, shamanic journeys, which are essentially a form of meditation, a form of hypnosis, all sorts of things along those lines to really get you out of this like alpha beta brainwave state where we're just like stuck in the mind and get you into the theta brainwave state, which is like that still in consciousness and so you're on the edge of consciousness and on the edge of like going into the subconscious. And these practices are ones that have really, really helped me make change in my life. And those are the things that I've not only practiced them personally, but also gotten certifications in them and, practice them with other people and in group settings and one-on-one. And then another thing about me is, if you know anything about me, is that I have like an obsession with energy. Everything is energy. It's science. Everything is energy. We are in this, like my shirt is energy. That drum up there is energy. This plant is energy. The cushion that I'm sitting on is energy. The air around me is energy. So there's seen and unseen. There's this like construct, this 3D construct of the density of energy. Our bodies are energy. Um, our thoughts are energy. So there's the seen and the unseen of energy. And then our emotions are actually energy in motion. So what will happen, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in detail in a moment, but what happens is that our emotions can get stuck and we can get like stuck in a mindset, in an emotion, in a core emotional belief system. So that's just a little bit about me, and where I'm coming from in regards to this. And then we're going to talk about money. What is money? Money is energy. It literally is energy. It is a construct that has been created by society. We made it up. It's a medium of exchange because in the past, we didn't have money. We used items, we bartered, we traded things as an energetic exchange for whatever it was. Like maybe, you know, I needed food and somebody else needed something to keep them warm. And we each had one of those things and we could trade and it was an exchange. So as society evolved, we had we no longer had this um this specialty of like our tribe having one thing that they did and another another group of people having another thing that they did. And we had to come up with some way, some medium of exchange, and we came up with money. So it's all made up, we made it up, right? But it's something that we need in order to survive and thrive in this physical world that we currently live in. So I love to be like, oh, it's nothing, it's just energy and no, no, no. But it's also energy that we need, right? It's this thing that we made up. And I'm currently living in a world where we need it, you know? So I'm not discounting the idea of this thing that we made up, but because we are currently using it, we are we need it. We need to pay rent. We need to buy things with it. We need to buy clothing and food, like our core needs, right? And then if we really want to thrive or we really want extras, our wants, we need more money, right? So that is what money is at the core basic level. And then we, based on a million things, can be in a scarcity and lack mindset. Okay. So what that means, scarcity is defined in the dictionary as the state of being scarce or in short supply, a shortage, an insufficient for the demand of whatever it is, right? Lack is understood to be the state of being without, so of not having something, not having enough of something, being deficient in. So they go hand in hand, scarcity and lack. So to have a scarcity or lack mindset is when you become so obsessed with the lack of something, usually time or money. We're talking about money here, that you can't seem to focus on anything else. Like it becomes this at the forefront of what you are doing or being or thinking, you know. We base everything around this. Like the mind is set in the scarcity or the lack. It's like the background noise that your brain makes when you can't get what you want or need. And that definition, that description came from WebMD. It was like repeated on several different websites that I was looking at, but I was like, wow, WebMD is like defining it. It's such a big thing that it's something people go to therapy for, right? And then it's now on WebMD. I thought that was pretty amazing. Actually, not amazing, like, oh, that's so great, but at least it's being, acknowledged, that it is such an issue that we can come across, right? So basically, any thought that money creates or any thought about money that creates an emotion or a feeling within you or this that creates this sensation of heaviness or contraction is a thought that will keep you stuck in a pattern of scarcity. So there are probably a million thoughts out there like that. We all have our own individual thoughts. There are collective thoughts around it. And we're going to touch base on some of those as we go through this program. So emotions are a big source of the scarcity. We're going to remove these emotional hooks. We're going to clear them out, right? So the emotions of scarcity, if you look at the bottom of the screen or at the bottom of this chart here, this chart is the map of consciousness, which is an emotional scale that was scientifically studied and measured by David R. Hawkins and I believe someone else, but he wrote an entire book on the map of consciousness. And this image and this chart, this frequency wavelengths right here are from that. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, those lower five, those bottom five are the emotions that we're going to deal with in this upcoming 6 weeks that we have together. So we are going to talk about shame, guilt, apathy, grief, and fear. And I will dive into those deeper each week as we focus on one each week, and we'll talk about the emotions and how they feel within our body and how the thought patterns that come up behind them. But I just wanted you to see the scientific study and the numbers. This is just a frequency. So like we talked about energy, right? And how energy is everything, right? Emotions are energy. And so if you look at this chart here, at the bottom of the chart, shame is a frequency of 20, right? It is look at how contracted it is down at the bottom of that cone, so contracted that it's almost death. It's almost making us non-existent if we reside in that frequency, right? Then guilt moves us up a little, apathy up a little bit more, grief a little bit more, fear a little bit more. And then we'll tap into these other ones as well, because what we really would like to reside is above acceptance on here, actually above reason. We'd like to reside in love, peace, and joy, right? Obviously, we fluctuate throughout them, depending on what is going on, depending on who we are around, depending, on a million things, right? But we're going to focus on these 5 because these are the ones that keep us really stuck, not just in money, but in other aspects of life as well. So we'll focus on those 5 in this program. And then we're going to talk about how the roots of scarcity run deep. They run so deep that first from childhood, any imprinting that we had from our family, from whoever raised us, from whatever society we were a part of, any traumatic events that we may have had regarding around money, and we'll talk again more in detail about those later, historical and societal programming, and then ancestral or lineage connections. So we come in programmed with some of this within our DNA or past life. If that's something that you believe in other lifetimes or parallel lifetimes, those connections can be there as well. And we can sort of tap into those throughout this program as well. So just know that they run deep and that we're going to dig deep down in there. And we're going to follow those roots and clear the energy from that. Right? That is the purpose of this program. One of the big things that I'm going to talk about throughout is the somatics of scarcity. So energy and emotions are felt within the body. The emotions can be released or recycled. If we release them, then we are processing them. We are moving through them. If we are recycling them, we are basically holding back and say, I'm not ready to release it. And then we just continue to loop a story. Okay. That's recycling it. Then it becomes stuck or trapped. We become stuck or trapped because of this. And we feel it within our body. So we may not consciously be aware of it in the moment, but when we practice this in the next few weeks, we are going to really become aware of how we feel it in the body. And then as we move through it, we're going to notice the difference once we release and unhook from these emotions. How does it feel different within our body? So that's when I talk about the somatics of scarcity, that's what I'm talking about, is where we are feeling it, how we are feeling it, what it feels like within our physical body. And then how will we release these energetic hooks? Well, the somatic awareness is step number 1. And then we'll maybe even do some somatic movements and releases in that way. We will do a lot of visualization, meditation, hypnosis practices. Each week we will have something. We will do journal, letter writing around the emotions and the energies, and then also some EFT or some tapping. And then I may throw in a couple of other practices in there as well. But these four main things are the things that we will focus on for sure. And then we'll see if anything else comes. I have a magic carpet bag full of tools, and I don't want to overpromise anything. So these are the four things that I can make sure that we hit on. And then if anything else feels like it needs to come out of that carpet bag, or I'm digging around looking for one of these things and come upon something else that feels like it will work better, then you will also get to experience that as well. And I'm just going to read you this quote from Joe Dispenza. If you are not familiar with him, Google him, watch all of the videos that he has. He's amazing, and he works on, and from the scientific and the quantum energetic energy fields. So it takes awareness and effort to break the cycle of a thinking process that has become unconscious, which is what we're going to do here. Okay. First, you need to step out of, we need to step out of our routine so that we can look at our lives. We have to kind of step back and have a little perspective, step off the treadmill, basically. And through contemplation and self-reflection, we can become aware of our unconscious scripts. Then we must observe these thoughts without responding to them so that they no longer initiate the automatic chemical response that produce habitual behavior. So we have to tap into them and see, whoa, what is happening here? Where am I? Where did this come from? So that we can see it from that different perspective, and then allow ourselves to repattern it and not have that habitual behavior anymore. Within us all, we possess a level of self-awareness that can observe our thinking. We must learn how to be separate from these programs, and when we do, we can willfully have dominion over them. Ultimately, we can exercise control over our thoughts. In doing so, we are neurologically breaking apart thoughts that have become hardwired in our brain. Your brain can do this. So just trust that it is something that can happen. Like, our brain is this, I can't even begin to explain what our brain can do. It is such a powerhouse of energetic connections. Like, talk about energy, the neurotransmitters that happen across the hemispheres of the brain just alone are incredible. And so your brain is powerful in both ways, in keeping you in some protective mode that it thought was necessary at some point, or in some pattern or programming that we picked up along the way. But also, it's so powerful that it will allow that to slip away and create a new program, a new pattern within it. So it's like a computer. Our brain is a computer. And so even though I don't know much about the insides of a computer, I do know enough that there's a lot of hardware in there. And sometimes we have to wipe it clean, just like as if you were driving on a really rutted dirt road, and they will grade the road and make it smooth again so that you can then, make new pathways on it. So it's the same sort of thing. And that's what we're going to do with our brain during this process. So when I talk about what I want you to do to get ready for our first session. So these are the assignments that I want you to, I'm going to give you assignments. I'm going to give you homework, I call it. And what I want you to do first is think about your familial imprints. So habits, stories, judgments, etc., all the things. What are the core beliefs about money for each adult that was significantly present during your childhood? So like for me, it was my mother, it was my aunt, and my grandparents. They were the ones that I picked up my belief systems from, basically. And then, so it could be anybody, it could be grandparents, it could be aunts, uncles, it could be caregiver, whoever were your core caregivers, basically. And I want you to write an extensive list of all of these things, because it could be like, that I remember my grandma or my grandpa, my grandma used to always say, money doesn't grow on trees. My grandpa made us one year these really he used to always make these really cute, creative, they would give us money every Christmas once we were older, and he would make these really cute, creative things. And he rolled up dollar bills like so tight and then tied them to these tree branches that he all had in this jar. So these tree branches with all these dollar bills like rolled up really tight and hanging on them. So his thing was, don't ever say that money doesn't grow on trees. However, it was very challenging to get that money off of that tree. So it wasn't very helpful in repatterning a belief system, but it was a cute idea. So, and if he had started that when we were younger, well, that would have been a nice imprint. That was when we were much older. But that being said, there is a myriad of programs and patterns and phrases and things and just practices, or maybe you didn't have anyone really modeling anything for you, and that too can be an issue. So I want you to write this extensive list out, and then as you go through it, after you've written out as much as you can think of, just go through and like highlight or circle the ones that you may currently be playing out. No, where you really like, ooh, yeah, I still do that. I really believe that still. I don't want to believe it, but I still do it. It's something that has become habitual for me. And just circle them, highlight them, whatever it, put a star next to them, whatever it takes to make them stand out to you, right? Because we're going to come back to those at some point. And then I want you to answer these questions about your current money relationship. So you can just do like some journal entrying. Well, what is your current relationship to money? What does that look like for you? Do you have like a good relationship with it? Do you, are you, I don't, I don't know what what that looks like for everyone. Like good is not the best word, right? Um, but what does it look like? How do you manage your money? How do you feel about money? Like, what does it feel like when you think of money? What thoughts come up? What feelings arise, right? What conversations do you currently have around money with other people? So just sort of journal around those. And then I want you to write a letter to money, okay? As if money is this energetic being that you can communicate with. How do you feel about it? What's your relationship been like? What feelings do you have about money? How do you feel that money has treated you? How do you feel that you have treated money? So you can, these are just some guiding questions, right? Like you can come up with whatever flows out of you as you're going through this. Can you declare a new relationship with money? What are you now aware of that you weren't aware of before? And how would you like things to change? So what do you want your relationship to be with money? So just write and write and write. Just let it pour out of you about your relationship with money. Okay. There is no right or wrong way to do this. There is no, these are just guiding questions. You're not going to get it wrong if you don't answer them in the way that you think you should answer them. Okay. Just some dropping into your energetics and your relationship around money before we get started. Okay. And the first week is going to be the emotion of shame. We're going to talk a little bit more about what that is. We're going to identify the somatics around it personally. We're going to share a little bit about our relationship, what came up in this particular assignment. And then we're going to move through and release those energetic hooks about shame. So I'm not going to give away everything that we're doing, but just wanted you to know that that's the first thing that's coming up. So I want you to just take some time here and either take a screenshot of this. I mean, you're going to have it on a video anyway, but take a screenshot if you want, or write these questions down if you would like, and just begin this journey in shifting your relationship with money, with the energetics of money, and then creating a relationship with abundance and prosperity. Because again, those two are just energetic constructs that we tend to apply to money. Okay, but we can apply them to a myriad of things as well. You know, abundance is typically about what we are harvesting or reaping, you know, so being in the farming world right now or gardening, you know, when you have an abundance, it means that you have more than enough. And when you are prosperous, it means that things are pouring in, right? So that's just the core energies around it. But we want to tap in first to your current relationship with money and where that came from. What are your basic roots of that, which starts with your family or the adults that were present in your childhood. And then we'll work deeper. We'll work deeper on all of this. So happy writing, happy relating to your money. And I can't wait to see you all on our first session. So take time, breathe deep, set your space, set it like you're doing a little bit of an energetic um, clearing and connecting with money as you begin to tune into what it is that is in this relationship that you have with money. And we oftentimes talk about, oh, just abundance and prosperity and not actually money itself. So we're not going to deny that money is what we actually want and need, right? And that's why I really want you to tune into this relationship with it. So I will see you soon.